Okay, welcome to today's Studio Armor Review. We're talking about the Exodite independent clans. In this case, we're covering in this particular video, we're covering the Moonmaidens and Daughters of Lileath. Now, that's the names I've given to the units that are witches and blood brides. Now, trying to find a female close combat unit that isn't age inappropriate for teenagers, because I do game with some high school students. That's why I try to help a high school teacher kind of get guys interested into Warhammer. I finally found the Dark Elves Warhammer Fantasy Witches, Dark Elf Witches. Now, they work out pretty well, but those units, they only come with 2 close combat weapons, so I had to use the hand bows. I had to actually cut their hands off and splice on, for 7 of them, splice on the hand bow. Okay, just like the Succubus in the HQ video, I used the hand bow to represent a poisoned dart that's fired out, and the the splinter pistol. Now, I have, in this particular case, these were going to be the Daughters of Lileath, and I changed my mind. So the way the whole concept behind the Moon Brides and Daughters of Lileath, or Moon Maidens, sorry, and Daughters of Lileath, is that these are part of the Bloodsong clan, or sorry, Dark Knives clan, and they are close combat specialists. That's what they like to do. And these female elves have decided to devote their lives to really getting good at it and closing into close combat as quickly as possible, being lightly armed and armored. Now, as they get stronger and better in the independent clans leadership path, it's based on martial prowess. So whereas in the house clans there's an element of wisdom and leadership, here it's prowess. So what will happen is the Moon Maiden, who devotes her life to studying these combat skills, will eventually get to the point where she's good enough and strong enough to actually lead by example again, and she'll be promoted to a Moon Bride. And so that's my version of a siren. Okay. Or Hecatrix, I think is what it's called. I forget what the Dark Elder Witch Sergeant's called. But anyway, they don't have these great arenas where they're always dueling stuff out. They're just always practicing and exercising to keep themselves fit. Now, I needed to interpret some of the special weapons because I definitely didn't want to use the witch weapons the way they were, because those weapons don't translate well into Exodites. They don't have nets with hooks on them. They don't have these flesh gauntlet or hydra gauntlets. They use different kind of knives, and knives and swords. So one of the things I decided to do right off the top was create the Dark Knife, which is, I think that counts as one of their, the Dark Knife set actually counts as, I believe it's a scissors hands. Let's see if I've got it written down right here. Yeah, no, it counts as the Hydra gauntlets, because the two Dark Knives together, they gives you the strength of the user AP5 with a shred. So they're vicious weapons, and this is an example right here. So she has got 2 viciously toothed daggers. Let's see if I can show this to you real quick with a white back sheet here. So you see the toothed edges to those daggers, large daggers with vicious teeth. Those are the Dark Knives, so that's where they get the shred rule from, right? So those are the Hydra gauntlets. Now, what I needed to come up with was a weapon set that would count as the impaler and the shardnet. Now, that it was kind of hard to do at first, but I realized that the 3 different weapon types, one gives you shred, one gives you rerolling to hits and everything. Sorry, one gives you shred, which is reroll all failed wounds. One gives you the rerolling all failed to hits, and I think that's the scissor hand. No, not scissor hand. The the other gauntlet was called. Man, I forget what it's called. Oh, the razor flails. That's what they're called. But now, the Shardnet and Impaler, it allows you to reroll failed to hit and to wound of 1s. So it's almost like a compromise between the two. So I realized, I can make the razor flails a punch dagger, and that would be much like this one right here. You can see that? It's a punch dagger. So that gives me there's her dark knife right there. So that's a, in this combination, she'll be rerolling. That counts as a Shardnet and Impaler. So that is a +1, or reroll to hit and reroll to wounds of 1s. Now, I haven't built it yet, because I didn't want to have it in this particular unit. I wanted 2 of my Moonmaidens with the punch dagger or Shardnet Impaler, which is the dark knife and punch dagger. But if I put 2 punch daggers on, that's like having 2 razor flails. So that's rerolling all 2 hits. So it allows, basically makes it that much more lethal. So I was able to translate those 3 the witch cult weapon sets, and they're only 5 points per, so it's not an expensive upgrade at all. So I do plan on getting more and making some more combinations. Now, I wanted to introduce to you my version of the Agonizer. Whoops, she just fell. Alright, I'm going to raise this up slightly here. And see if that focuses real well. Yeah, there it is. This is, now if you look at an Agonizer's profile, it is a strength user weapon, AP 3, but it's poison, 4+. Well, a power weapon is strength user AP 3. So I figured the Agonizer can be a poison power sword. So what I did is, you can see on the tip of the blade, there's the force, or the power surging through the blade, and even some back here. And then if you can see, there's just a hint of green up along the edges here and here, and there's that metallic rod that runs down the length of the blade, and from the there's a small green vial of poison just above the hilt, and that leaches out onto the blade, and that's the small green on the edges, and that's where the poison is. So that is a poison power sword. That is my version of the Agonizer. So that's how I was able to interpret the Agonizer weapon, so I don't have to have, Dark Eldar whips all over the place, which doesn't really mesh well with the Exodite look. So that's the way the Moonmaidens came out. And again, these are going to be the Daughters of Lileath, but I found another unit to model that instead. In the Wood Elf line on Warhammer, they have a Sisters of Avalon or something like that. They ride stags, and those models have a very elegant bodice. So it's really pretty, very reminiscent of some of the types of ornamentation I've seen on pictures of Lileath. So I thought, perfect. I'll work with those, find different legs, and those will be my actual Daughters of Lileath, which would be the elite version of a witch. That would be the Blood Brides. So these are now my Moonmaidens, or witch equivalents, and the one with the agonizer is my Moon Bride, or the witch sergeant, or I guess they call her Hecatrix. So hope that kind of makes sense. I hope you see the connection between the dark elf unit and how I converted it to match an Exodite flavor of the witches. Okay, share, like, and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you think, and see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.